UFC De Ridder versus Allen takes place this weekend. And before we get into it, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't feel like making this video at all. I got into a car crash today with my car and fucked my car up. So I've just been feeling kind of empty today. No emotion. But I want to get this video done anyway. So I'm just go ahead and do it quickly because I wanna go ahead and go to bed and lay down and relax after the day I've had. But we're gonna go through this quickly. Starting off with Melissa Croden versus Tainara Lisboa. I got Melissa Croden. I just think she's a lot better, especially with her clinch work, dude. She's actually nasty in the clinch. She's got disgusting knees and elbows in the clinch. She is a damage-based fighter, so I really like that, especially for a woman in the women's division where a lot of them don't really fight like that. I think she can find a lot of success just by going for damaging shots. And Tainara Lisboa is decent, but she doesn't have the pop in her shots on the feet like Melissa Croden does. And I think Melissa Croden's a better grappler as well. So if it does go to the ground, I also favor Melissa Croden there as well. She's never been finished, and yeah, I just think that Melissa Croden is better, and I think that she'll win this fight mainly in the clinch with her clinch work, her knees and elbows, nasty. So moving on to Azamat Bekhoev versus Yursi Belguru, I guess is how you say that name. I actually have no idea. I have my notes pulled up right here. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Azamat Bekhoev. He's a powerful hands, good grappler. TKO'd Zachary Reese with ground and pound shots, which isn't the most impressive thing to do, but Zachary Reese is a UFC level fighter, so, and I don't think that Yursi's that good. He's pretty dirty on the Contender Series. He fouled his opponent like 3 times in the first round, and who he beat on the Contender Series was an absolute nobody. I'm just not impressed. I'm not impressed by anything he has ever done. I've been impressed a few times by Azamat Bekhoev, so just based off that alone, I'm going to go with Azamat Bekhoev. I just think he's a lot better and more physical, and he's just got the UFC experience as well. So TKO Zachary Reese. I think Zachary Reese would sleep Yursi in the first round, so, Azamat Bekhoev will probably go in there and school the guy, honestly. Moving on to Stephanie Luciano versus Ravena Oliveira. Oh, my camera's gone. There it is. I'm gonna go with Stephanie Luciano, man. Honestly, Stephanie Luciano is a sniper. She's fast, and she has a lot of good kicks. Kicking is like her best weapon. Her leg kicks, her high kicks, they're all really good. And Oliveira, she's not good. She's not good at all. She's very open to shots on the feet at all times. She is kind of like a grappler-based fighter, I think, and she will stall against the cage if she can. I've seen her do that a few times. She'll shoot her for a takedown, fail it, but then hold you up against the cage, and she will do that if she's able to, which I don't think she will be able to do against Stephanie Luciano, who's just going to be a bit too better on the outside with her kicks and her ability to snipe you coming in, which I think Oliveira is particularly bad at. If you're a sniper and you're good at catching people coming in, I think you beat Oliveira like every time, just because she doesn't know how to defend herself in a fight. And she's not that strong. She's pretty small. She's cool, but Stephanie Luciano, I'm actually go ahead and say that she gets a knockout here over Oliveira. Round 2 or 3 knockout, I'll say. Moving on to Kyle Prepelec versus Drew Dober. Come on, I got Drew Dober. Kyle Prepelec is not good. He sucks. And he's just here for He's just here to fill a spot on a Canada card. Drew Dober is actually nasty in the cage. I think either he's tied with Poirier or he beat Poirier's record for the most knockouts in the lightweight division. That you don't just do that, even in the UFC even in the unranked section of the UFC, you don't just do that without having some level of talent and skill. And Kyle Preplik is not that. Went out there and got awful things done to him against Benoit Saint-Denis, but so did Rufy, right? So maybe a loss to Benoit Saint-Denis isn't that bad in hindsight, but he still just isn't good at all. I expect a round one Drew Dober knockout here, honestly. So, Drew Dober by knockout. Round one. Danny Barlow versus DeJordan Santos. This is another easy, absolute layup that they have given to Danny Barlow. Matchmaking like this is just insane. Because Danny Barlow is going to beat the shit out of this guy. Danny Barlow, he was TKO'd by Sam Patterson in his last fight, but let's be honest, Sam Patterson is he's one of the best unranked welterweights in the entire division. So, I think Sam Patterson is better than some ranked welterweights. So, oh wait, this is a middleweight fight. This is a middleweight bout actually. So I guess Danny Barlow went up. But Danny Barlow's fast and he is explosive, and all of his other fights have shown that. But dude, DeJordan Santos, as soon as I found out that this guy lost to Ozzy Diaz, I already knew I was gonna pick Danny Barlow. Cause, dude, Ozzy Diaz, I'm gonna keep it real here. Ozzy Diaz is genuinely one of the worst fighters that has ever touched the UFC octagon. He is top 5 worst guys to have ever touched the UFC octagon. And to lose to him in a fight is fucking despicable. Danny Barlow's going to go in there and destroy this guy, because when you lose to someone that's not even near UFC level, you ain't UFC level, bud. And Danny Barlow's decent. So he's going to beat DeJordan Santos, no doubt in my mind. Moving on to Bruno Silva versus Hyung Sung Park. I'm going to take Hyung Sung Park here. Bruno Silva's not bad, but he's just kind of like a power puncher. And if he doesn't get his way with the power punches, he just kind of does lose, doesn't he? He was losing very clearly to Cody Durden in a striking battle before he slept him in the final round comeback. That's an awful look. Hyung Sung Park just lost to Tatsuro Taira. I can't even tell you the kind of crime scene that would happen if Tatsuro Taira fought Bruno Silva, okay? And Bruno Silva also just got KO'd by Joshua Van in a very one-sided dominant fight. Hyung Sung Park isn't the best flyweight in the world, but he is good and just took his first loss against Tatsuro Taira. He's got slick hands, powerful hands. He's a finisher on the feet. He's just an absolute monster. And coming in short notice to Tatsuro Taira and losing by submission finish doesn't show that you are not a monster. So I'm going to take Hyung Sung Park here by knockout after having a very dominant performance against Bruno Silva. Honestly, I think he's going to beat the out of Bruno Silva. I believe in Hyung Sung Park in any fight that is not a short notice fight against Tatsuro Taira, who honestly has potential to be one of, if not the best flyweight in the world. I don't know if I'd say that yet about Tatsuro Taira, but there's definitely people that think that, and there are arguments that they can make for it, you know, so, yeah. But I'm going with Hyung Sung Park by KO. Moving on. Charles Jourdain versus Davy Grant. I'm going to go with Charles Jourdain here, man. I'm going to go with Charles Jourdain. I'm going to be honest here. I think that Charles Jourdain is my favorite fighter in the entire UFC. Number 1 spot. And he's been that for about 2 years now. Maybe a year and a half. I just think that Charles Jourdain, the way that he fights in the octagon is so entertaining. He's one of the most entertaining in octagon fighters, in my opinion. And then his mic and his social media presence as well is just hilarious. I don't know if you guys follow Charles Jourdain on Instagram, on Twitter, or any of that, but he's just one of the funniest fighters ever. as well as having a very entertaining in-ring, in-octagon style. And I do think that he is really good. I do. He has 8 losses, which really isn't good, especially when you only have 16 wins. Um, but all I'm going to say is Charles Oliveira also had 8 losses right as he started his championship winning run. He lost to Paul Felder, which was his last loss until he lost to Islam for the title. And that put him at 8 losses. And then he went on to win a championship. So I'm just saying, maybe getting 8 losses is the way to become a champion in this sport. But no, I'm joking. I'm gonna go with Charles Jourdain though. I just think he's better. I know that Davy Grant is really good, and I know that he's fun. I trust me. I know that Davy Grant is fun to watch, and he's a good fighter, and he's a good underdog. He's been an underdog like his entire UFC career, and more times than not, he does pull off the win. And he's an underdog here as well, I believe, against Charles Jourdain. I was hoping Charles Jourdain was the underdog because then I put him as an underdog of the week, but I can't. But I'm telling you, Charles Jourdain is just better. He's a better striker than Davy Grant. He's got better boxing. He's got better kicks. Davy Grant's probably got more power. But the one thing I think people are overlooking here about this matchup is the fact that Charles Jourdain was a very undersized featherweight his entire career. Gets knocked out by Gene Silva, which in hindsight is not a bad loss. And then he goes down to 145, Charles Jourdain. And I think Charles Jourdain has found his weight class. I'm going to be honest. I think he's found his weight class here at bantamweight. Because he was undersized at 145. And he looks good in this division. You know? Victor Henry is not a bum. Victor Henry is a very intelligent fighter who is pretty hard to beat for most fighters, and Charles Jourdain figured him out and finished him with a guillotine. And I know that Davy Grant's good and he's powerful and he has some of the best upset ability that you could ever possibly have as an underdog in the UFC. But I've seen Davy Grant against lesser guys than Charles Jourdain get dude, Davy Grant was dropped by Ramon Taveras. I think Charles Jourdain is better than Ramon Taveras. I know that Davy Grant beat Ramon Taveras, but I think if Charles Jourdain drops you, he latches out that guillotine. And Charles Jourdain doesn't lose guillotines. It's his best weapon in MMA because when Charles Jourdain latches up a guillotine, you get submitted. That's just how it goes. He has such a great understanding of the guillotine, and I do think he will win by guillotine in this fight against Davy Grant. Because when Davy Grant does get pieced up on the feet, he has been known to shoot takedowns. And if you shoot takedowns on Charles Jourdain, or if Charles Jourdain drops you, he's going to latch up that neck and he's going to submit you with a guillotine. Unless you're some highly ranked fighters. I don't think Charles Jourdain beats every bantamweight. But I think he beats a Davy Grant. You know? Davy Grant's powerful. And I do worry a bit because we did just see Charles Jourdain get knocked out by Gene Silva less than a year ago, or maybe just over a year ago. But am I really gonna view Davy Grant as Gene Silva level? I don't think so. So I don't really think he can knock out Charles Jourdain. And Charles Jourdain is a wild fighter. He's a counter puncher most of the time. He likes when guys put pressure on him so that he can counter them. But Charles Jourdain is known for jumping spinning kicks, flying knees, jumping roundhouse kicks. You know, he's known for that wild stuff, and maybe that could be to his detriment because Davy Grant is pretty good at countering crazy stuff. But I think that Charles Jourdain, at this point in his career, I think he's only 28, 27, 28, 29, that one of those years. Davy Grant's up there in age, man. He's like 36, 37, 38, one of those ages. He's coming off of a lot of surgeries. He's not physically in his prime, whereas Charles Jourdain is probably pre-prime or just about at his prime. Davy Grant is out of it. I see too many advantages in this fight for Charles Jourdain. I know that Davy Grant's good. He really is, but Charles Jourdain, I really do believe in him. Maybe you can say I'm a little bit biased because, again, he is my favorite fighter in the entire UFC, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I have picked. Look, I pick against people that I want to win all the time. I picked Magomed Ankalaev over Pereira. So even if I am filled with bias, I typically do pick who I genuinely think will win. Um, you know, I picked Zhang Mingyang over Johnny Walker. I desperately wanted Johnny Walker to win. So, you know, I I picked Duplessis over Hamza Chimaev. You know, so it's not like I never pick against. It's not like I always pick who I want to win. But I am going to go with Charles Jourdain. I just think at this stage in their careers, he is the better fighter. And yeah, I think Charles Jourdain has has better finishing potential as well here. Because Charles Jourdain has only been knocked out one time his whole career, and it was against Gene Silva. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to put Davey Grant on the same level that I view Gene Silva on. So I'm going to say that Davey Grant wins round one with his power shots, and Jourdain is trying to gather the rhythm. He's downloading data, you know what I'm saying, counter punching while Davey Grant has presence, the one going forward. And in round two, I think Charles Jourdain is gonna catch him with a shot that puts Davey down on a knee. Davey's gonna shoot him for a takedown maybe, and Jourdain's gonna latch up that guillotine. I do think that Charles Jourdain is better, and he's not undersized at 135, so he will have some physicality over some of these guys. Maybe not Davey Grant, because I think Davey Grant's a bit stronger, but you know, I think Charles Jourdain is very good. I think Charles Jourdain is one of those fighters who is way better than his record suggests. And to be fair, he shouldn't have 8 losses because it was a brutal robbery against Shane Burgos. Man, he clearly beat Shane Burgos. But yeah, moving on. Charles Jourdain, round 2 submission. Moving on to the main card, Kyle Nelson versus Matt Frivola. If you guys don't know, Matt Frivola is my mutual on Twitter. Matt Frivola followed me on Twitter after a pro Terrence McKinney tweet where I posted the video of Terrence McKinney knocking out Matt Frivola in like 7 seconds, and I was like, this is my favorite Matt Frivola moment, just as a joke. And to my surprise, he straight up fucking followed me for that. So I appreciate you, Matt Frivola. Matt has been my guy ever since, interacting on Twitter every now and then. He likes my tweets every now and then. He's a cool ass guy, and I do think he is going to beat Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson's not bad, but I just think that Matt Frivola, yes or no, if I'm right or wrong about this, but Matt Frivola is built for war. Kyle Nelson is not. I see this being a bit of a scrap because Matt Frivola scraps in every fight. He comes out to swing, and he was knocked out in his last fight against Fares Ziem, but it was in round 3, and I think Fares Ziem would dominate Kyle Nelson in less than 2 rounds. So Matt Frivola, I just think he's a bit better, and I think he's got more power in his hands and better finishing potential here. I see Matt Frivola going out there, pushing a crazy pace on Kyle Nelson, making him very uncomfortable early, and then sparking him out cold with a shot like a minute or 2 in at most. I think Matt Frivola is going to go out there and make up for lost time and really get a devastating knockout that shows I'm still here in this division and I'm still a problem. Kyle Nelson, I believe he's coming off of a knockout loss to Garcia, right? Yeah, Garcia. Who is a good fighter, don't get me wrong. Garcia is a very scary guy to go up against. He truly, truly is. Because he's a finisher. And he beat Bill Algeo. Nasty. That's not a good win. Padilla. That's not a good win. Bilder. These are not good wins. Drew against Choi. Lost to Herbert. Jai Herbert. This is not a good. Lost to Billy Quarantillo. I'm sorry. Lost to Billy Quarantillo, my guy. You know. Lost to whoever Sales is. That was in 2019, to be fair. But I don't. When you go to Frivola, please go back. When you go to Frivola, right, you're going to see, of course, a knockout loss to Fares Ziem, a knockout loss to Benoit Saint. Damn. He went to France back to back and got KO'd back to back in France. But then he knocked out Drew Dober, you know? People, you know what I'm saying? He was really the first guy to knock out Drew Dober. Crazy. And then he knocked out Ottoman Azaitar. He's shit. And then he beat Valdez. He's shit. Lost to McKinney. McKinney's really good. He lost to Armand. He fought Armand Tsaroukian, dude. That's experience that Kyle Nelson just doesn't have. You know? Kyle's been in there. Matt Favone has been in there with some of the best in the division as well. So I'm taking Matt Favola by knockout. Not only just the first round, but first minute or two, I'm thinking. I think he's tougher as well than Kyle Nelson. So Matt Favola's got it by knockout. Cody Gibson versus Orichi Lang, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I'm gonna go with Orichi Lang, man. Because let's be real here, Orichi Lang is the better striker. He can, and I'm gonna say this now. Other than the Raul Rosas Jr. fight, Orichi Lang has done pretty well at defending grappling in the past. And Cody Gibson, I'm gonna be honest, I think Cody Gibson is mid at best at everything. I think his striking at best is mid. His grappling at best is mid. I think Orichi Lang clears in the striking here, and I think he can defend the grappling because Cody Gibson's grappling, I just don't see it being that good, you know. And I think that Raul Rosas Jr. is a much better grappler, and even he couldn't finish Orichi Lang. So I think Orichi Lang is gonna get this by decision, just by being the better boxer. And being able to shuck off the takedown attempts of Cody Gibson. That's all I really got to say. I don't see anything in Cody Gibson's game that impresses me at all. Orichi Lang has at least got some slick boxing. So, Manon Fiorot versus Manon Fiorot versus Jasmine Judavicius. I'm so stuck on this one because I really want to pick Jasmine Judavicius. I think that Jasmine Judavicius is truly really good. I don't know, though, because Manon Fiorot just went a competitive 5-round decision with the champion, Valentina Shevchenko, and I really want to pick Jasmine. I really like Jasmine. I think she's a really good prospect, and I enjoy watching her fight. She's very entertaining. Coming off of was like a minute-long submission finish against Jessica Andrade, is it? Man. But Manon Fiorot, she beat Rose Namajunas. What's Jasmine's most recent fights? Submission win against Andrade. No result against Mayra Bueno Silva. She beat Da Silva. Oh, this is only her 4th fight in the UFC. 4th fight in the UFC? Oh, no. Load more. My camera was blocking the load more. She beat Klein, of course. Capoeira, lost to Tracy Cortez. There's something there because I think Manon Fiorot would beat the piss out of Tracy Cortez. Beat Marina Maverick. She ain't that bad. That ain't that bad win. Beat Fernandez. She beat Wayne Kong. Lost to Silva, but honestly, most people might lose to Silva in this division. She's really good. Man. You know what? It's in Canada. I'm going to trust Jasmine Judavicius because honestly, I do think her grappling is better than Manon Fiorot. Manon Fiorot has better striking, but I'm going to trust in the grappling of Jasmine Judavicius here because her grappling is actually pretty decently good. And Manon Fiorot, she can grapple too, but not as good as Jasmine Judavicius, I believe. Maybe Manon Fiorot can keep it on the feet. Ooh, you know what, though? I forgot that Manon Fiorot defended the grappling of, God, what was her name? The really good grappler girl. Blanchfield. Erin Blanchfield. Dude, Erin Blanchfield's grappling truly is amazing. Man, I really am stuck on this one. I'm gonna trust in Jasmine. I'm gonna swallow my pride and trust in Jasmine Judavicius. I feel an urge to pick Manon Fiorot, but something is telling me to pick Jasmine Judavicius, and I think it's just because I want to believe in her. She is a high IQ fighter, and I feel like she can get it done. This might be a terrible pick, but hey, there's been worse picks in the past. I'm going with Jasmine Judavicius by a smudging decision with her grappling. So there we go. I'm going Jasmine Judavicius by decision. Moving on to Marlon Vera versus Ayman Zahabi. I'm going with Ayman Zahabi here. I'm probably never gonna pick Marlon. I'm probably never gonna pick Tito Vera again if they keep giving him like higher ranked guys. Just because Marlon Vera, I don't actually think Marlon Vera is that good. Most of his wins, if you actually sit back and watch the career of Tito Vera, most of his wins are knockouts where he was getting his ass flipped inside out and handed to him before he found the finish in the later rounds. And Ayman Zahabi is one tough motherfucker, dude. Ayman Zahabi almost got knocked out by Jose Aldo, and he got hit with an absolute soccer kick straight square on the face of Jose Aldo. And I definitely don't see Marlon Vera giving a shot anywhere. I don't see Marlon Vera landing a shot of that power on Ayman Zahabi, and I see Ayman Zahabi's a better boxer. He's slicker on the feet. He's faster. Doesn't have as much power, but even has the grappling advantage here against Chito Vera. He can take down Chito Vera and beat him there as well. Chito Vera didn't beat Jose Aldo. Granted, it is a different Jose Aldo, and Jose Aldo did retire after losing to Ayman Zahabi. But I just think at this point in our careers, dude, Ayman Zahabi just is a better fighter, and he is a tough, durable guy with better offense than Marlon Chito Vera. So I'm gonna go with Ayman Zahabi, man, because people really do beat the shit out of Chito Vera, whether he wins or loses. I mean, dude, he was losing convincingly to Dominic Cruz at the time of that knockout. I mean, come on, you know, he was losing to Rob Font. He beat Rob Font by decision, I think, but Rob Font was literally up every single round before he just. Rob Font's made out of paper, and he was he was beating Chito Vera up every single round before getting dropped at the end of like every round, winning him rounds. I don't see him dropping Ayman Zahabi at the end of every round to win. So Ayman Zahabi's got it, in my opinion. I just think he's better than Chito Vera. Moving on to Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott. Mike Mallet. I don't know how you say it. Mallet, whatever. I really want to pick Kevin Holland. And maybe I would pick Kevin Holland had he not fought Daniel Rodriguez. Because I think Mike Mallet would dust. I think he would dust Daniel Rodriguez up in a round. I think he would go out there and put hands on Daniel Rodriguez and smoke his old ass out cold within a round. Kevin Holland not only lost to Daniel Rodriguez, but was getting torn to shreds in the second round, getting dropped left and right, put on his ass, and I don't think Mike Mallet is. I don't think Mike Mallet is gonna. How is Mike Malott as a grappler? I forgot. Probably better than Holland, right? I'm gonna go Mike Mallet, man. Kevin Holland's one of those fighters, man, where he's just gotta show me that he can win. You know, I've picked him a lot, and he's lost a lot for me. I mean, I genuinely haven't picked against Kevin Holland since like he fought Jack Della Maddalena. Or no, I picked Vicente Luque to beat him actually. So I picked Vicente Luque, but I think Mike Malott beats Vicente Luque at this point in their careers as well. I'm gonna go Mike Malott. I'm gonna go Mike Malott by decision because Kevin Holland is pretty unfinishable unless you're like a really good grappler. And Mike Malott is not the kind of grappler that would submit Kevin Holland, I'd imagine. I don't think he's gonna knock him out either, even though the Daniel Rodriguez fight does have me a little worried. Kevin Holland has never been knocked out, I believe, and he is very durable despite his last fight. So, but I am gonna go Mike Malott because I do think Mike has more power than Daniel Rodriguez, and he is a better boxer, striker, and grappler than Daniel Rodriguez. So and if Daniel Rodriguez is beating you up like that, someone that is much better, I have a hard time believing you're gonna beat him. So I'm gonna go Mike Malott by unanimous decision here, and Kevin Holland is once again coping and saying, "Well, if I wanted to be a champion, I could. There's just too many. There's just too much politics in it." You know, and if you have that mindset, I truly believe that although I do not think Mike Malott can ever be champion, I truly do believe that that is his goal, and he works hard every single day towards that goal. And when you have someone like that fighting someone like Kevin Holland, who's all, I could be champion, but I just don't care enough. I show up to get paid, and I don't want to be champion because there's too much politics in it. I can't take you serious to win fights. I think if Kevin Holland had a championship mindset, he would have a really, really good UFC career, and he'd have fought for the title maybe more than once by now. Because I do believe Kevin Holland is very gifted, very talented, has amazing finishing potential. If he just had that championship drive mindset, think about where Kevin Holland could be. God, he'd be a superstar in the UFC. But he doesn't have that mindset. I think he wants to be champion, but he copes, and I don't think he works that hard. Mike Malott, I know he works hard in the gym. I've seen him train. I know he works hard. He gives his life to this. So I think that drive, if not the physical skills, that drive is probably going to drive him to a win here against Kevin Holland by decision. Moving on to the main event, Reinier de Ridder versus Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen sucks. And even if he was decent, his IQ is some of the worst in the UFC history. And I think that not only do I think that Reinier de Ridder is a smarter fighter, but I just think his physical skills are better than Brendan Allen. Reinier de Ridder is a much dangerous guy on the feet because he's more powerful. His knees up the middle are better than any weapon Allen ever possesses on the feet. And he's just more athletic. He's more athletic, more physical than Brendan Allen as well. I don't see Brendan Allen hurting Reinier de Ridder on the feet because Brendan has no power. Brendan Allen made Marvin Vettori look like a striking savant. You know, I don't get this narrative that he dominated Marvin Vettori. He did not. They had a war, and I don't think Reinier de Ridder would have a war with Marvin Vettori because, you know, and I think that Reinier de Ridder is a harder guy to grapple as well. Reinier de Ridder is a really decent grappler, and the power he has in his hands too is real. And I just think he's too physical on the feet and on the ground for Brendan Allen. Not only that, but you mix that with the IQ of Brendan Allen, I don't see a world in which Brendan Allen gets this done. And yes, I do heavily dislike Brendan Allen, but I don't think I'm being biased here because I have picked Brendan Allen in the past. I picked him to beat Marvin Vettori. You know, I actually thought he would do it much better than he actually did, and that is a bad look for Brendan Allen. So I'm gonna take Reinier de Ridder here to win. I actually think he's gonna finish Brendan Allen. I think he's gonna knock Brendan Allen the fuck out. Round 3 or 4. After some decent grappling exchanges between the two, and Reinier de Ridder showing that he is much stronger and much more physical and athletic. You know, I don't see Allen winning this. I just think Reinier de Ridder is better, paired with his better IQ and physicality advantage. I don't even know how Allen could get this done. Don't see a knockout. I don't see a submission. Maybe a submission. I think submission would be Allen's only path to victory because I don't see a knockout and I don't see a submission win because I see Rainier doing more damage over the course of the fight. So maybe a Hail Mary submission or something, you know. But Allen, I could see Allen maybe wobbling Ryan De Ridder and then going for some trying to jump a dumb submission where he ends up on bottom and gets pounded out for the rest of the round. I just don't think Allen is good enough to be a top contender in the middleweight division. But I guess we'll see. Rainier De Ridder, I've picked against him in every single fight, other than the Honda Mearshart fight. I picked Whitaker to beat him. He didn't, but I think Whitaker would dominate Brendan Allen. So But anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. I got Rainier De Ridder by knockout. So let's go over them one last time. I'm going with Melissa Croden, Azamat Bekoev, Stephanie Luciano, Drew Dober, Danny Barlow, Hyung-Sung Park, Charles Jourdain, Matt Favola, Origi Lang, Jasmine Judavicius, Ayman Zahabi, Mike Mallet, and Rainier De Ridder are my picks for this weekend. That's going to be it. The video is 36 minutes long, a bit longer than I thought it would be. I'm having a bad day today. I'm going to hop off. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you after the fights.